Welcome to the Familial Podcast. This is episode 9. I have an awesome friend of mine, awesome guest here today, Ian Moyer. Ian, I met you, man, I want to say probably sophomore year of high school
I
through
want to
some
say like
mutuals.
sophomore junior year. Yeah.
Yeah, sophomore, junior year, we used to play football. We used to just go to the park, chop it
Yeah.
up, listen to some
Football,
music.
basketball. End up playing like on Xbox.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we had a good time, and dude, there's one thing that I always remembered was just how passionate you were about football.
Mm.
And when I heard, like, once I moved up to Tempe, when I heard you were at the U of A doing some shit with the U of A football team, like, I was like, dude, that's Ian. That's him.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that and that like transition. Um, because it is one thing to like be really passionate about something and then for it to like kind of become your like way of life. Talk to me about that
Yeah.
transition.
So, so like when I went to U of A, well, before that, obviously I was a huge sports fan. I grew up just enjoying football, hockey, soccer. I played soccer pretty much my whole life. So I just kind of grew around sports. Like even the games I played was mostly sports games like Madden, NHL, FIFA, all that I would just play. So
Always beat me
I
at Madden, dude.
it's
Always.
because I put countless hours into it that I didn't need to. But I eventually like grew a liking for like trying to film stuff. I think it's because like I kind of just grew up watching YouTube videos and streaming. So I always grew like an infatuation of like recording things. So in high school, I would be in a video class and we'd record stuff. And then when I got to the U of A, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I just was undeclared and I had to look for a job because I needed to pay my parking tickets. So,
Parking tickets.
well, not tickets, but like tickets to the
Okay.
garage.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything illegal.
Okay.
But so I was like looking through the U of A's like job sites that they were using, and I saw there was like one for U of A football to film, opportunity to film games, to film the practices, um, and so I'm like, okay, fuck it, I'll give it a try, you know. So I eventually got the job, and it was a nice. I think I did it for like a year, but it was a
So sick.
great year. Yeah. I eventually had to drop it because I eventually dropped out of university because I couldn't pay my tuition.
Right.
But that year was very cool, and I got to meet Gronk. I got to meet. I wouldn't really say meet the players. I got to see them in like person and like on the same floor as them. So that was pretty cool.
Right. Dude, that's I don't even know, bro. That's up your alley, man. It was I don't know. Again, when I heard that news, when I ran into you, you told me that's what you're doing. Because I've run into you like twice in the last 3 years or
Yeah,
something, and it
it's
was
been a
like,
while.
and both times they've been at like weirdly defining points in my life, and I can tell like in your life too.
Hmm.
Because when I first ran into you, you were doing that. You were like very passionate about it. But then I ran into you most recently, and you're like, I dropped out of school, but you were like still, man, you were very confident in yourself, and it was like you presented yourself in a completely new light. And I kind of want to touch on that's something I had written down here. It's just like it was night and day. Like when I first
Yeah.
I think I ran into you at IHOP, or it might have been a coffee shop or
Oh
something.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was
it was at
like
IHOP. It was I went to a concert with my brother and his friend,
yeah,
and uh we went to IHOP for the like to go eat something at because we were hungry after, and we
right.
ran into you. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So the first one was IHOP, and then the other one was like at LA Fitness. And the LA
Yeah.
Fitness, I remember, dude, it was just, you were completely different. Like, you looked happier. You were talking like freely.
Mm.
I don't know what was like different, or if there was something in your life that like, made you feel free or like helped you identify yourself more. But
I think it was just at LA Fitness I had a bit more confidence because I think around that time I had gotten my first girlfriend because I'm not a very social person. So during that time I had my first girlfriend, and so I got I think it was just a surge of confidence. Like, yeah, like, like I started to feel better about myself and stuff like that. And IHOP, that was just me with my brother
Yeah,
and his
right,
friends. So it was like a comfort spot because I always usually eat at IHOP with friends,
right.
and I was just doing it with my brother and his friends, getting to know them.
Damn, dude. So I didn't know you had a lady. Like,
I
what?
I did, yeah.
How was that?
It was nice. We didn't really. It was a nice pace. I really enjoyed it. It was great. It just gave me a surge of confidence.
Good.
That's that's all I can say. I don't think there's really much I can say. This is like a post game
Right, yeah,
interview.
no. Dude.
We really did good running the ball. I think the passing game was really well. Just some missed calls happened, and that's the game.
It's crazy. I know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but before we started this, you had some things that you wanted to touch on with like mental health, and
Mm,
I think I don't know, man. Like just diving straight into it, like what direction or what are some of the experiences that you've had with your mental health, and was dropping out kind of like a defining factor in finding yourself, or
mm.
directing more attention to your mental health?
I think dropping out was definitely like I needed it because I did feel like I was kind of putting a lot of pressure on myself. On one, I didn't know what degree I wanted to do, so I had a lot of pressure on that. I was trying to maintain a nice like balance of work, school, friends that I was struggling with. I had really no like motivation to really do much. And that was kind of the thing that I've struggled with I think for a while. Is like when I'm part of a military family, right? And so my dad got stationed to Germany. And for me, I think I was around like 7, 12. I think between those ranges, which is kind of like a defining moment in your life because like that's where like you kind of learn a little bit of about like social skills and stuff like that. But I lived in Germany, which was like a country I didn't know to speak the language of. I lived like an hour away from where I went to school.
Right.
So like all the social skills that I had was only from the people that I got to talk to at school and all that stuff. But like I would go to school, I would come home and just isolate myself playing games and absolutely destroying all social skills that I've had. And I think at some point during that time, I had like a sense of like loneliness or like something like not not very well because like I had always wanted to like talk to friends, and when I first met you, it was like an awkward state. It's always awkward stages we meet, like you said. Like when you and I met,
What was it, dude? I was gonna like jokingly agree with you, but like I feel like when we yeah, it was awkward as fuck,
it,
dude.
it was awkward because like it was our sophomore junior year, and
For sure.
I think during that time I was trying my best to get out of my comfort zone. I tried hanging out with so many more people. I didn't know how to drive, so it all really depended on if they wanted to, like wanted to come pick me up and wanted to go hang. And luckily, Blake was that guy who would pick me up, and then you were a connection, and you'd join us. So it was really really nice. It was a nice feeling, but I don't know. It was just that me trying to figure out myself in a way.
Right.
But it's kind of just the thing that I've been dealing with even like now. Like I have the ability to drive, but I have like and hang out with people, but I have no social skill and even talking to like friends I know now and friends I've had. It's just like
Right.
I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it.
No, I think I know what you're saying, and this is something that I kind of have a connection to, just because, dude, my social skills were not always solid, and even now, there's like so much growth that I need to make. But like, I I find myself in like really uncomfortable conversations sometimes,
Hmm.
and I don't know how to, like, when people trauma dump on me at a store. I don't know what to say, and I just kind of like sit there and listen. And I think that's what I'm supposed to do, or at least that's just like what my instincts tell me. And
Yeah.
like one thing I've realized is I hate making false promises.
Mm.
So like I try and avoid saying like it's gonna be okay, or like like everything's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
And especially if I don't have like control over those things because I'm so separate. So I don't know. Situationally, my social skills are all over the place. So, dude, I'm telling you right now, you having this conversation is you're I don't know, dude. You're more advanced than you think. I would say.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
what aspects of your social skills do you think you're falling short on,
on
or
like
are you
every.
feeling disconnected?
I think it's a little bit of disconnection too. I think disconnection, and I just feel like I'm failing in like all cylinders. Well, like most cylinders of like social skills. I don't know how to carry a conversation. I don't know how to start one. I just kind of, like you said, just like stand there, listen, do like what I think is the right way to talk to someone, which is kind of like listening to them, right? It's
Yeah.
like I'm doing my part, and I think over the years I've kind of grown a facade where like in social situations I'll always have like a smile on my face. Like cuz in
Mm,
my head it's like I think I've grown to like never talk about myself or like my situations. I just like put on a face, smile so people don't have to ask me like, "Oh, he looks like he's doing great." You know?
mm. Dude,
And
this used to be yes. Yeah, I used to
yeah,
do the same exact thing. Like and that even now, like I don't necessarily like attention, like at all. Like I'd
yeah,
rather
neither
the
do I.
attention be on other people. And so if I can control a conversation to be about someone else, like I will, like especially in
Yeah,
a public
if I
setting.
could pass it on and someone's like, "You
Yeah.
take it." Yeah.
Someone's like, "Oh, you look happy today." It's like, "Hey, you want to know who's really happy? My buddy Bozeman over here." No, no, but I think I don't know, that end of things will, like, you'll figure that out. Eventually. Like, why do you have a smile on your face? Like, who are you trying to appease? Like, what conversation don't you want to have? Like, is it the Ian? You look sad today, and like, is that how you feel?
I think it's just like I don't even understand my feelings either. Like if you were to
Mm.
ask me like, "Why are you sad?" It's like I don't know.
Are
It's
you
just
sad? Like,
sort of. I guess
okay.
I'm currently going through some something. I don't know. But I'm going through a moment, I think this past 2 weeks, but it's like it like comes and goes, you know?
Right.
I think certain things cause it, other things don't. I don't know.
Dude,
But it's,
do you mind like me asking what it is, or like what's going on? What's
I think currently for me, I've had this talk with one of my coworkers too, because he's also sort of going through the same thing. It's kind of like a disconnection to like life right now. It's like right now I feel like I'm just waking up, going to work, going home, going to sleep,
mm,
waking up, going to work, going home, going to sleep. Not really doing much for myself, and that kind of sucks because like I think over the this whole year I've been trying to like do things that I've always wanted to do. Like I've gone to so many concerts over the past year. I've gone to New York like at the start of I think February to go see family. Uh and then uh I when I got back to working trying to, make my life steady again after money dumping everything, I just kind of felt disconnected.
right,
It
right,
feels like I'm I know like what I'm doing right now is not what I want to do. Like I don't want to work at Safeway Deli my whole life and go through the stages of that. It's just I don't know what I want to do. There's so many like dreams and goals that I've had where it's like those moments where like you're in your bed in middle school at like 10 at night and you're like I'm going to do a few push-ups and I'm going to keep doing this and it's going to make me better. It's like those moments. Like I'm like I've sat in my room like I feel like I want to try making music. Try for like 10 minutes, and I'm like this is too difficult. I don't want to do this, and I stop doing it. And I'm
mm,
like another day is like I feel like I could become like a streamer. You know, I play games a lot. I could do it once, and I'm like, that was boring. I'm not gonna do this again. Next, or like
Right.
just trying to do things that I've always wanted to do when I was little, but not
Right.
really being able to commit to them, which is interesting.
Dude, it raises such an interesting topic, and I fully know that feeling of just, you wake up every day, you go to work, you go home, you maybe, you just do everything that's in your daily schedule, and then you go to bed. There's
Yeah.
nothing added to it. There's nothing different. Like every day is like the
Yeah.
same. And for me, I'm not a like psychologist or a professional or anything. Like I'm not claiming
Well,
to be.
definitely not.
Yeah, but for me, I think what I really focused on and the questions that I asked myself, it was like, am I, well, one, it was like, what am I truly fucking passionate about? Like, who do I want to be? And when I figured that out, when I was like, I want to like pursue business, and I have to take all the steps to like pursue business, and eventually I was working on my job, and those days started becoming like how they were. It was the wake up, jump on your laptop. I work remote, so I'm like going on calls, and it was just so mundane. And I was like, there's nothing new. There's nothing
Yeah.
new. Every conversation is the same. I can run you through my pitch. I can, and it was nonstop. And when those days started becoming this, so I made the switch from working retail to this business that I work at, and when I did that, I saw like great growth, and everything started feeling better, and then I just went back to the same place, and that's when I really was like, what am I passionate about? Like, what is it? And I sat down and I literally like asked myself, I was like, what the fuck is it? And I was like, I'm a family man. Like, I'm a family man. I love my friends, and I'm gonna start a podcast, and I'm just gonna separate it from what I was doing with my brother. I'm just gonna do it alone. That way, it's like dependent on me and my friends, and my family. And I'm gonna make it about them because I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate
Yeah.
about having conversation, and is it something that's gonna go distance? I don't know, but that's what makes it fun. That like the day to day. Like, I'm in love with the journey of it. Like the fucking log on, you schedule a podcast, you get in, and we just chop it up. And dude, there are so many people who like they'll do it once, or they'll make one podcast, or they'll write one blog, and then all of a sudden that's it. They quit because they think it's a numbers game when it comes to like
Yeah.
viewership or anything like that. Um, but the whole thing is like you have to love every step of the way. You have
Oh,
to
for
love
sure.
the process. And do you think you're prioritizing the journey over the process when it comes to, or yeah, when it comes to like what, like making music, for instance?
Yeah.
Like, are you struggling with identity in that sense of like, I want to be known as a musician. I want to be a musician. And because I woke up and I gave this 10 minutes time and I'm still not a musician, like, is that what you're kind of, this is not the right term, but obsessing over?
um, I wouldn't. I think it's because I just want like instant gratification. Like I want
Right.
something like to make me feel good immediately,
Right.
and I don't think I myself am not willing to put in the work. I don't know why. I just don't want to put in the work to do such steps for a journey that'll probably give me like humongous gratification. I think it's just I want instant gratification,
Mm.
and I want to just feel good immediately. Don't want to do the extra steps or do any of the steps. I just want to jump from point A to the end.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask, like, have you felt gratification in the past?
I think I I think my gratification definitely relied on how people kind of perceived me in a way. I think when I did things, it was so like I could get other people to think that I was, you know, something. I don't know. I think it's definitely me wanting to have like a good image from people and getting others like approval, I
Right.
guess.
So I'm gonna tell like a super quick story, and then I have a question for you.
Yeah, of course.
So I took this girl to San Diego. It
Mm.
was we were just dating for a little, and we went on. It was like our second date, but I took her to San Diego, and we went to this rooftop restaurant, like super nice, super fancy. And for me, it was like one of my favorite restaurants. That's why we were going, because like I went prior to this, and I just loved it. I went with like my previous girlfriend, um, and I wanted to go back. So I took her, and we were on the rooftop, and I never sat up there, but this is this is the first time I was up there, and everyone around there was just dressed to the nines, like just they looked ridiculous. Like it was crazy. It was like a whole new environment. And for
Yeah.
me, it's like I fucking hate that. Like I hate that culture. I hate the like everyone's up there and spending a ridiculous amount of money, and it's not real. Like the people who are truly making progress aren't here. And like the people who are truly like improving themselves are not here. And it was this realization that I had of just like, and I knew this like going into it, but I wanted to take her out to dinner, and that was like a such an interesting time, because she was like, "Oh my god, like it's so fancy, it's so nice, like everyone here is so rich," and I was just like, "This isn't real. Like none of this is real. This is all perception. This is all image." And the way that she was perceiving these people, and maybe even including me, was a false image. It
Mm.
wasn't it wasn't real.
Yeah.
And the way that you're describing, like you tied your gratification to how people perceived you.
Mm.
One, how do you perceive yourself? And two, like, how do you want people to perceive you? Because there is like a whole, like, I'd rather be perceived for something I truly am than something I'm not. And like, I've just realized that, like, as I've gotten older and as things have matured in my life, it's like, I'd rather be perceived for just this. Like if I was just known for this podcast and this is like all I did, even if I'm working so much on the side and like doing everything like with my full-time job in school, it's like if someone just looked at me and saw this podcast, like I'd be happy with that. Does that make
Yeah, yeah.
sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I think the way I want people to perceive me, I guess, is like successful and happy and outgoing, and I don't really perceive myself as that. I think I've always kind of perceived myself as kind of like this shy someone that else like self isolates himself, like tries to be outgoing. I think I just put myself into like a negative light compared to
Mhm.
what I want people to perceive me as.
Okay, there's a Gary V, dude. There's a Gary V clip that like is so powerful to me, and it's something that I've noticed, or I've kind of used in my day to day. Like whenever I feel like I'm not enough, or I'm not doing enough, or there's avenues of my life that are just going to shit, which happens. We're human, and
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. Like my emotions are not just stable. And but it's this clip of Gary Vee. He's walking by, he's like getting ready to get into his car or whatever, and this lady is like, "Gary Vee, I love you. Like one day I'm gonna be something, and I'm gonna meet you, and it's just gonna be completely different. Like I'll be a millionaire, whatever."
Mm-hmm.
And he turns around and he goes to her and he shakes his hand. He's like, "Very nice to meet you." He's like, "You have to know something." And she's like, "What?" And she's like, he says, "You're already something. You just don't know it yet. You just don't believe it." you know And it was
Yeah.
like this complete mindset switch for me as a viewer. I was just like, whenever I feel down, like that's where my head goes. It's like,
Mm.
I'm already there. Like I just have to get through the process and understand, like, this is the person I am, and I'm never going to be that person until I start identifying myself as that person. And I'm totally in the camp that your problems get bigger the more you look at your problems, and the
Yeah,
more
it
like
definitely does.
right,
Yeah.
right. And that's like the step to like being happy is, and it's not even about being happy. It's just about not being sad, at least from my
Yeah.
point of view, you know? So I don't know. Maybe just switch it, dude. Just like, cause like, are you actively telling yourself that you're sad?
I think I actively am. Like it's definitely something I'm not ignoring or trying to like do anything to improve. It's just kind of like something that I know or I'm telling myself I know, and I'm just like that's how it is. That's how it is right now. When it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
But
I
right now like it's
yeah.
just stuck in my head.
Right. Okay, dude. I'm using a lot of references to like fucking media just because this is a conversation that's obviously like not like I'm not a psychologist again, but
Oh yeah, no,
I
no.
I absolutely like I've been through some of the feelings that you're talking about. And
Hmm.
as for this, the sadness and the self-identification, like I'm sad, I'm you know depressed, even maybe, like I've done that, and it just led to like so much fucking pain, I would say, or like so
Yeah,
much
it's just a
unproductivity.
downward spiral. That's
Yeah,
all it
dude,
is.
without a doubt. And I went through like a bad breakup, and that was like that's where I went for months, dude. And one thing that helped was I read this book. It was like 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. He's a psychologist, and one of the rules is get your house in order before you try and conquer the world. And he related it to like mental health. And you have to, like, before you go out and you're like, I want to be successful, I want to, do this, I want people to perceive me, as this, is like, before you go out and do that, make sure everything in your mind is in order. Like, if
Yeah.
you're not gonna be successful if like you're unhappy, basically, is like what
Hmm.
he's saying. And I really aligned with that just because I was like, again, I was in a weird place. I've talked about it so much on this podcast, but I was like post breakup, and I would just wake up, do my work, and just like reminisce on like times with this woman. And we lived together for like 8 months, like woke up next to her, went to bed, next to her. And it's just like, it was 8 months, that was like enough time for me to like really just make it habitual. Like that was what I
Hmm.
was used to. And getting out of that when I was, freshly single, it was like I had women coming my way, and I think it's really just because I kept focusing on me.
Woo,
But
beauty.
but it meant nothing to me. It was like I knew I'm not in the place to like take
Mhm.
anyone on, or like bring anything new into my life. Like I just have to be here. And it was such a weird fucking time, man. Like it was
Yeah.
so weird. Like I can't even explain it. Like I was just so sad, and I kept telling myself I was sad, and it just got worse. And then like when you progressively get more sad, you're like, okay, now I'm really sad, and then you just keep going.
Yeah, and you
You just
just
keep
keep
going.
going. Like you keep going like then you go like layer by layer.
Yeah, and you're
Like
like, no,
I'm
now
sad.
I'm
I'm sad
really
because of this
sad.
now. And now I'm sad because of this and this now.
Right. And dude, I don't even know what helped me. Like it was like my friends were there, and I met a new group of people, and I just remember spending time with them. It was like it helped, but I still felt like kind of numb, dude.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel anything. And then eventually one day it was like I woke up, work felt different, time with them felt different, and started seeing my family more, and that helped too. And then that's really when like all this started for me. Just like the mental journey was on its way. and then I really became myself. And I started realizing that perception and how I wanted people to view me, um, it was bullshit. Like I just had to view myself as successful, as happy, and then when you really start honing in on I am these things, you start to become them. Even if you like have to lie to yourself a little, even like I got up to give a speech once, dude, during that time of like numbness, fucking bombed the speech. Like it was the worst speech of my life. Like I stuttered, I had no clue what I was talking about, and I just butchered it. And then I looked at myself in the mirror, like in the bathroom after, and I was like, who the fuck am I anymore? Like who am I? Like that used to be my thing. I should be able to do that at any mental state, and I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I just fucking couldn't do it. I couldn't do anything. I felt like a loser, and I probably was, and it was a fucking hard thing to accept. It was. And I really had to start like base up. It was fucked. It was
Yeah.
like the saddest I've ever been. But you learn so much in that process, like without a doubt. So I don't know, dude. I would just say like you're already there. You're already successful. You're already, you're on your way to being happy, and you're outgoing. You are. If that's how you want people to perceive you, that's what you are. And you just got to own it and perceive yourself as those things.
I think one of the main reasons, because like the way I want to perceive myself is like how like a younger me was. Like I think when I was younger, I was a lot more outgoing. I didn't care what people thought. I was outgoing. I was loud. I was cracking jokes. I would always befriend everyone no matter what. And at some point that just kind of died. I think because I grew more anxious about how people would perceive me, as I think everyone does when they start growing up.
Right.
It's just because of, I'm going to go back to Germany on this one, because I lived in Germany and because I really just had myself, everything that I had to talk about, I really just only discussed with myself. So the only inputs I got was really whatever I thought of myself at that moment. So I think that definitely probably plays a big factor on like how I want people to perceive me and how I even perceive myself to this day.
Right. No, definitely. But why? Okay, let me ask you this.
Okay.
It's like, is there a past? Like, what about that is unattainable?
I think it's just fear of how people were perceiving. Like I was a loud, rambunctious kid.
Right.
And I think as I got older, I got scared of being like that loud, weird kid. I was scared of being weird, which is just, I don't know, dumb to think about. And I even had this discussion once with my mom this year. It was like, she was talking to me like, you don't talk to your family much, or like, you don't really talk about yourself a lot. She's like, how are you doing? How's everything going? And I'm like, I'm doing okay. I mean, I have like social anxiety, I think. And she's like, why do you think you have that? I'm like, well, I'm not, I get really anxious around people. I think it's just, I'm scared of how people perceive me. And she talked about how she doesn't think I should be scared of it because the way people perceive you isn't who you really are. And it's really up to like how you think, just like you said, how you think you are and not how others think, really.
It's way easier said than done, though. Like,
yeah,
I know your dilemma.
I was driving and I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, that's true, but that's tough.
Right.
I'm like, that's oh boy.
Right. The application of that is the hardest part, dude.
Yeah, it's definitely the hardest part of it.
And I hate to like go back to that fucking night on that rooftop bar, but for me it was like, the girl I was with, she struggled with anxiety as well, and that's one thing that she was like, I have to sit in silence for like a minute, like don't talk to me or something, because there was a lot of people, and she's like, and it was loud as fuck, and she was just like overwhelmed, and I just remember like having, and that advice that I gave her, the words that I was saying, it was like, it was real. Like, I didn't believe that any of that shit was real up there. Like, for sure. Like, I still, like, if I were to go with you, I'd be like, this is fucking, like, not real
This is
at all.
bizarre.
Yeah,
This is
that was
wild.
and it's not even wild, dude. It's just like so many people are up there with like false image, and they're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
authentic. And with me, it was like, once I like separated from that, I started realizing like there's so much that is not real. Like, social media is just so bullshit. Fucking, you go down the list of just inauthenticity, and it's all around us. Like, it is all around us. This is like everything that you're being told is like some weird, twisted, false image. And especially in like a political campaign that we're seeing now, it's like, what the fuck is going on in our
Yeah.
country? Like, dude, it's crazy. And it's like, if we're being lied to at this high of a scale, you understand the standard of people that exist at our level.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible, dude. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the
I know what you're
standard
saying.
of
100%.
human is so low, and it's up to us to not accept mediocrity and lies. And like, all right, that was a side tangent, but dude,
I
I
love it.
totally believe in that. Like, just, you have to be authentic, and you realizing that, I have social anxiety. May not be happy. Those things are, it's the first step into like really growing into who you are, like, without a doubt. Like, and they say that in therapy, it's like the step to
It's like
progress is to realize
yeah,
like you need help, and maybe you don't need help, but for sure, like,
you
you
gotta like
made the you made the
journey.
right first step.
Yeah.
You did, and that's good. And I it is a very philosophical question, and this is something that I ask myself like all the time. But it's one of my favorite pieces, and if I'm ever lost, like, I'll literally go for a run and just like repeat it until I start finding the answers. But who are you? Like, who are you? Like, if I were to sit down and ask you that, like, genuinely, how would you answer? Which is what I'm
I would
doing. I
I would
put
yeah,
together a
what you're
hypothetical
doing
for
right.
what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
into a question. Nice. I wouldn't be able to answer it at all. I don't know who I am. That's just that. I would be like, I'm me.
Right.
that's 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 how to answer it.
God, dude, this is
Yeah,
so
right?
interesting. This is
Yeah.
so interesting. I
Really?
don't know. It is, dude. It is, because dude. Again, this is me probably a year and a half ago. Like, I had no clue, or probably a year ago, like a year and a couple months ago. I was in the same exact spot of just like, I have no clue who I am, no
Yeah.
clue what I
I
want, no
I've been trying to
direction.
solve this for years, man. It's been it's been a journey for like years of me trying to figure out what I want to do. Who am I really?
Yeah. How did the breakup like add to this, or was it a part of
The
this? If you don't mind me asking,
it,
if that's too personal,
no,
it's
no, no,
cool.
you're good. 100%. It definitely plays a factor recently because it was a more recent breakup. And I think to me, when I don't know, I think when I had her or when we were a thing, it was nice because I think for the first time at all, it felt like I had someone I kind of in my corner a bit. Like I had someone who would like message back, talk to me. It wasn't really like deep conversation. And then I wasn't able to really like hold a conversation because I was always so anxious and nervous. And I think I always think where I went wrong. Where like there are definitely aspects that I think I could have done better. Like definitely being more open to me being me. I feel like I didn't give myself a chance to really show who I was. I showed glimpses, but I feel like I never got to show like me. And I think once the breakup happened, it didn't really hit me. I think when it happened, I was just like, well, this sucks, right? Like it it sucked. And then recently we went to go celebrate for our friend's birthday, and we went to Topgolf, which was the only date I got to take her to. And all my friends happened to have gotten into relationships, so they all brought their girlfriends, and we were all having a fun time. I enjoyed it, but then like at some point, I kind of got lost in, I guess, the breakup finally hitting me at that point, and a sense of like loneliness despite having everyone around me. I think a thing I've definitely seen a lot from like scrolling through TikTok, which is like a terrible thing. Never do it, because for some reason TikTok
Dude,
always knows it. They know.
it fucking
They know.
knows, dude. It knows when you're going through a
I
breakup.
always get I always get like the King Von, or like not King Von, fucking Von Theo, right? Where
Yeah.
he's like, loneliness isn't like the feeling of you having no one. It's the feeling that no one has you. And to me, I think I've always kind of felt that way. It's like, I have all these friends, I have all this, but when in a room with all these friend groups and all these people, I feel like I wouldn't be picked by anyone. You know, like everyone has like a best friend or like a friend that they would always pick over another. It's kind of just like normal. You know, you're always going to have that closest friend. And to me, it's like I could pick a person. Like I could probably pick multiple people. I think depending on what I was doing and what like how I was feeling at that point. But to me, it's like no one would pick me. I
That's
think
not
once the
true.
breakup happened, it's just what I kind of give myself. I think
Yeah.
because of I always isolate myself, and I always never really want to try reaching out to people or doing stuff. It's always my like I don't know. It's always like I'm doing this because my friends are doing it, and it's just for me to like join in. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Dude. Okay, first of all, you saying like that Theo Vaughn
that
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 or yeah, that's his name. Theo Vaughn. I would almost say King Vaughn too. But that Theo Vaughn clip where it's like nobody has you. I I know exactly what clip you're talking about,
yeah. It's a weird
and
clip.
and I disagree. Like in regards to what I've experienced, obviously that's totally situational,
Yeah, I think it's definitely
and
like subjective.
for sure. But I think the feeling of loneliness, at least from my experience, is when people around me were loving me and having me around for who I was when I wasn't that person that they perceived. And there was like this inauthentic, and that's partly my fault for sure, but it was like my girlfriend had me around for my ex had me around for stability, you know, whether that's financial, emotional, or physical. But if I were to be feeling down, for instance, or if I felt a little poor one day, um, it I was still perceived, with how she wanted to perceive me. I was still identified the ways that she wanted to identify me, and like I didn't let her in enough. Yeah, well, I didn't let her in on my finances. I didn't let her in on uh, how I felt too much, so she was still loving and still holding on to, yeah, who I was, but not who I am in that situation, and that's because I didn't communicate my feelings. I didn't
Yeah.
communicate what's going on at work. I didn't, because I've worked for a startup, so there was like a lot of times where we would go months without pay, and I didn't let her know. I didn't tell her. I didn't want to, because I
Yeah,
wanted to be a provider, and I wanted to
for sure.
not complain, and I wanted to take it all on the chin. But that led to a big identity issue within the relationship that, you know, I was like, why? How does she not understand? And it's like, she doesn't understand who I am because I'm not telling her,
Yeah.
And then towards the end is when I really started to tell her like everything, and things got better, but they also were already so far gone, you know. And I will say, with the loneliness, with the relationship, you got your first one under your belt, and especially like a breakup, dude, they fucking suck. Like, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
how long you guys were together, like, they just suck. um you know, and dude, you always have people. It's just
Oh
a
yeah, for
matter
sure.
of, what are you willing to tell them? What are you willing to let them in on? Are you willing to, like, you say you tag along to be with your homies and do
Hmm.
what they want to do, but like, are you willing to just do what you want to? Like, for me, dude, I go to restaurants alone. Like, like, I'll go to the movie theaters alone. You know, I'll do all of that because it's what I would do. It's what I want to do. You know, it
Yeah.
is. And if one of my homies, I'll let them know. I'll be like, hey, I'm going to the movies. Like, you want to come? And they're like, no, I can't, whatever. But it's still like the show goes on without them, and it has
Hmm.
to. It has to. Like, this is my life essentially, and I'll tag along for everything they want to do. But you have to find the people who are also willing to give.
Yeah.
Yet you also have to be brave enough to, like,
To
host
give
your
to
own
them.
shit
Yeah. Yeah.
and give to them too. You know, but you have to be able to be like, I'm doing this. You know, this is what I'm gonna do. This, I'm going to this fucking football game, and you guys should just tag along. You know, or like
Mm.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard, dude. It's such a hard balance, but I do think that helps with, that's why I think I have such a strong sense of self, is because I'll go for my runs. I'll go to the gym. I don't need anyone to tag along. You go to the gym alone too. It's like, you have your alone time. It's just a matter of like, are the things you're doing outside of work, the gym, and everything else that you do, are you just being a part of someone's story, or are you still like writing your own at the same time?
I think I don't know. I know recently I've definitely started going out to like the mall just by myself, definitely doing things by myself, which I tell myself it's like just to go outside. This is just for me to do something. When I know it's something I want to do, but I think I just like downplay it so much for myself that I start thinking like, okay, this is just from do something,
Yeah. So
which is weird.
with, dude, you gotta just like believe in yourself a little
I know,
more.
right? It's like I
Like
don't.
this.
I think
Yeah.
that it's just that. It's like I don't really believe in myself, or like I just probably just have just a really negative mindset on myself for some reason.
I want to say you and me talked about this like a while ago, like in high school.
I feel
I
like
feel like
I've
we've
yeah,
definitely had this conversation,
I've
and
definitely had this conversation with like many people briefly, and then I've never talked about it ever since. It's
yeah.
like a really rare occasion. I never talk about how I'm feeling or like what's going through my mind.
Well, how does it feel to like talk? Does it feel good? Do you get
It
clarity? Like,
it does feel good. I mean, it's
good.
just because like when I'm by myself, I just have conversations with myself, trying to act as both parties. But I think I've just grown so much into like dependent on what I say and think that I'm like whatever other people. If I tell other people, I don't know, they're not going to give very helpful insight, or like they're not going to really care too much to listen to me rant on about like my whole situation, my whole spiel.
I think more people would listen
I think
than you
definitely
think.
so. Yeah.
I think. I mean, I love your perspective. I love your story, and yeah, genuinely, dude, like, just call me like anytime. Like, but I promise you, like, I love to
It's
listen, and I love seeing like growth, and this is a part of your. I love your story. This is part of your story. So it's like, you don't have to hide the negatives in your life and the hard times for me to perceive you as successful, happy, and outgoing, because again, you're searching for that instant gratification when
mhm.
really this is just a part of your step. This is a part of your journey. Love the
Yeah.
process, and just find ways to let people in enough to where they know you, you know, because it's like right now, do your friends are you guys are they friends with you for the image you're portraying, or friends with you for who you really are?
I want to say for who I really am. It's like a mix. It's like I kind of try to put an image like I'm much tougher than I am. Like my okay, so I'm very my jokes can be very harsh, and uh I tend to not really think about how other people feel in a way because I want to get other people to laugh. And I know that's a really bad thing that I always wanted to work on.
I remember being on the receiving end of
Yeah, I've
that.
done it to
Dude.
you. I've done it to everyone, and it's I think back on them, and I'm like, dude, this is I'm such a dickhead for this. Like that's
Like in the shower,
like
dude.
yeah,
Like
I'm like after like the session, I'm like, man, that was a dickhead thing to do. But in my head, I'm like, that was funny as shit. That was
dude.
that was funny as shit. But it was like, I do regret a lot of things that I've said to like friends in joking ways, and I think I'm just too scared of myself. I think it's kind of also like an ego thing. It's like I felt like I'm not in the wrong because it was a joke, but at the same time, I know it was wrong.
Because you know where it comes from.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of. I think it's more just like me. What is it like? Expressing, I guess, self
Like
hatred, sort of.
like projecting.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm projecting. Definitely, I think that's definitely what I'm doing. Like
Damn,
all the
dude.
negative stuff, like all the negative stuff that like I've kept to myself about myself. I think I just project to others to make myself feel like better in a way.
Yeah. And I remember
Yeah.
there was so when I met you, I was probably I was probably like 230 pounds. And I was definitely on the heavier side, dude. And like, dude, but I was like
No.
improving. Like I was improving
Yeah.
myself, without a doubt. Like I was going on runs. You playing basketball, fucking football, and I remember it was like you used to fucking call me fat all the time, and I just would like I obviously like I developed thick
Yeah. Yeah.
skin,
You're. Yeah.
and you know, but in that moment, it was like, yeah, sure, like I'm making progress, but I didn't feel like it because like people would still identify me as that. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah. I
with
know what
what
you
you're
mean.
going through, no, I'm not putting like any hate or anything your way, but I will say I do remember that type of stuff, and it wasn't like it didn't like hurt my feelings or anything, but it definitely like it made me come to terms like these are people that I can't get super close to. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like I
I,
don't like because they aren't appreciating my
hmm.
progress. You know, and maybe that connects to like the instant gratification thing a little more of just like identifying people at where they're at now versus where they're going to be because everyone's
Yeah.
on their own journey, you know, and until we see it that way, it's never,
I
you
think
know,
when I
we'll always be looking for like just the final result.
Yeah, I think when I made those jokes, I've made those jokes many times to all my friends. I think it's
For
definitely
sure.
me. It's definitely
For
me
sure.
projecting, like if like me projecting like myself, like negative image of myself. Because I've
Mhm.
always been like a short, skinny Mexican, and this has always like kind of haunted me in a way. Because like I would always try to eat food to like try gaining weight, and I can never do it. I had a really fast metabolism and a very small stomach. But like I would always like you remember I always wore hoodies,
Yeah.
right? I always wear hoodies because it would cover my arms. Because I remember when I used to wear short sleeves, people would like always do that wrist and fingers thing where like they would like wrap their fingers around your wrist and be like, see it, they could touch.
Right.
I think that always like haunted me a little bit because I'm like, man, I don't know why. I think I would just compare myself to other people because other people couldn't do it. It was always me, and I was always on the slimmer side.
Right.
So I think I just ended up projecting that a whole lot. And I think that also became an issue with me is I would project. I think it's because I never talked to anyone. It was just me.
Right. So with the projection piece, like
Ooh.
what I don't know, how have you improved in that sense? Like do you think you have? Like
I definitely haven't. Like
really?
yeah,
Dude, damn. Okay.
I know, right? I think it's because I'm still stuck in or I've been stuck in this mindset loop for I want to say like 10 years. Like I've always talked to myself, believed in what I thought of me 100% of the time. And I would always project it to my friends. And when I'm one on one with them, I would be a lot nicer, definitely to people that I didn't wasn't comfortable with or like I didn't really know thoroughly. I'd be a lot I want to say more like me a little bit where I'd be like much kinder. I would really wasn't self-projecting.
Right.
And I think as I grew close to the friends, I would self-project more as a way of me being like I need like as a way of me like expressing or talking to them.
Right.
It's just in a negative aspect of it. And I know every time like I make the jokes, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that or I shouldn't have like made those jokes. I just can't put it over myself. Definitely pride with apologizing with what I do. And
Right.
even though I know it's the right thing, I think I just don't want to be like I was in the wrong. I think definitely the hardest part for me, and I think most people, is to be like I'm sorry, I was in the wrong. I shouldn't have done that. It's definitely the hardest things I can't even say.
Right. And you kind of connect that to your pride in a
Yeah.
way. So how is it you can get on a podcast and be super fucking vulnerable, yet you can't tell someone that you're sorry? Like what you did was way harder than that, without a doubt. And maybe it's framing. Maybe like because for me it's like, dude, if I fucked up, I don't know if I've ever fucked up around you or if you've seen me fucked up, but I always take ownership of
Yeah, no,
er,
I
like
have seen you. Yeah, you're always like,
and
I'm sorry, like I shouldn't have done that.
right. And I'm very glad I was doing that young because it was
Yeah,
it's important, dude. Like
right, for
we're
sure.
not perfect. Nobody's fucking perfect. And let alone people don't expect perfect.
Yeah,
You
there's no
know?
such thing as perfection. It's only
Yeah,
striving to be better.
exactly, dude. And that's a growth mindset. So you're not
Yeah,
like and maybe it is framing. Maybe you have to go in and just be like, look, I just need you to listen. Like I just want you to know like I'm sorry for the things I've said, whatever.
yeah.
And I don't like what is it about that conversation that is scary? Or
I
I mean, you said your pride, but like, what even is pride? Like, to be honest, dude, like you've talked about some very vulnerable things. Like, clearly you're separating yourself from that already.
I think well because I feel like I've seen other people do it, especially on your podcast. Like I like I told you before we started recording is like when you sent me a message, I'm like I don't know what to talk about. What does he talk about? Because
Right.
I hadn't seen your podcast before then. Sorry to reveal it, but I had to go to your podcast and look at what other people said, and I saw a lot of people being vulnerable. Hitting like very sensitive topics, kind of like being able to express themselves. I'm like I can use this as kind of a way for me to express myself, especially because I think I'm thinking this as like a one-on-one with you rather than
Exactly.
like this is going to be shown to everyone. It's definitely I've been thinking about this all day. It's like I want to express myself because it's one I've got to do it. I've got to like let all this weight sort of off my chest, especially with the topics that have been discussed before. And I think it's just I guess this is kind of like a therapeutic thing right now.
Right,
It's like
dude.
yeah,
It's good.
Yeah, which is like a really good thing because I've never wanted to go to therapy. I've just like there's always people in your corner that you could talk to. And I just for some reason I've never believed that idea. So I just kept everything down. But right now I'm thinking of it as like one on one with Brett. We've had meaningful conversations before one on one. I've had meaningful conversations with other people one on one. I've had meaningful conversations when I'm drunk in a group setting. And um I think it's I don't know. I am trying to improve myself. It's just I give up on myself too easily. I think I don't know. I think I just gave up myself too easily to try improving at all.
Right. So how are you gonna give yourself a shot now? Like, just what's gonna keep you?
I don't.
Because dude, there's a real fast. So sorry, but
Yeah, you're good.
I had this teacher, man, and he was like, fucking first day of class. He walks in. He's like, fuck passion, fuck motivation. He's like, it doesn't exist. He's like, and if you're fucking passionate about what you do, he's like, you're gonna fail. And he meant it. He meant those words. And I disagree somewhat. I think passion is important. I think being passionate about certain things is without a doubt like needed for
Yeah.
you to pursue them. But he made an interesting point. He's like, the success lies in discipline, and that's really where it stems from. Where success is like rooted to, um, like, so how this is such an interesting question, or at least to me. It's like, what's gonna keep you disciplined in giving yourself a shot and like understanding like this is your journey.
I think for me, it's definitely having to change my mindset. I think trying to think of myself. I think I definitely need to be more selfish about myself than I do because I definitely am not very selfish. I don't really try to treat myself. I try to treat others. I want others to be happy rather than me. Kind of weird mindset that I give myself, and I want to try. I guess it would be better if I try thinking a little bit more selfish, in a way. And I think recently, okay. So recently, I've started making TikToks, which is very in my head very cringe, but it's just really like music stuff. Like I'm just like lip syncing over music
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Because like some music, I listen to a lot of music. It's pretty much always been like, I guess my best friend besides video games. Those two have
Yeah.
always been hand in hand. And I guess it's kind of a way for me to one express myself and two me trying to enjoy things more openly. It's like I enjoy this song. I'm gonna do TikTok on it. I enjoy doing this. I've definitely started to realize like, hey, I'm really enjoying like filming in general, and
Good.
I even bought myself a camera which hasn't been used yet
Nice.
because I'm like I want to like start trying to do stuff with it, but I don't give myself the time to. It's like I think of an idea and I'm like, that's too much work. I'm not going to do it. Back
Right.
to the instant gratification as well.
So in finding that, dude, first of all, that your passion, like what you're doing on the TikTok and everything. I fucking hate that I just said the TikTok, but what you're doing on the
On the tickety talk.
yeah, dude. Actually, though, like with what you're doing there, and it kind of like giving you more of a meaningful connection with the music you listen to. There's definitely like avenues of your life that would probably pertain to as well, like the fucking, I don't know, like, do you like going for walks? Like, you obviously like football, bro. Like, bring the camera out. Just like, even if you don't end up filming, it's just having that sense of like, this is here, like this is an option. People love options, and I'm fully in that camp too. Just like any moment can be a strike of inspiration or
Mhm.
strike of passion per se. Like,
I really wouldn't. I don't know. I think it's awkward to do. Like it's awkward to do at first. Like I want to try starting like an event with friends and film it, see how it goes. But I'm like, that's so awkward to like try bringing it up. Like, hey, do you guys want to do something so I could film it and see how it goes? Like it's to me it's so awkward to say and do, and also like it puts me in a way it kind of puts me in the light, and I don't want to be in the light. It's like I want to be like a background character or like backstage, you know?
dude, this is such an interesting topic because I know what you're saying, and it's like you're trying to find your identity, but you also don't want to be the center of attention.
Mm-hmm.
And to find your identity, you kind of have to be your main character, you know. And for me, dude, I think that like when I was really finding myself, I was getting super into photography, and I would just take photos of my homies. I would bring it everywhere. Like I just literally just taking photos, and that really helped me. I gotta say, because I got good at making my friends look good, and they're fucking studs, like
Yeah.
beautiful people, and they didn't need it. But it was like they were so down for the journey. Like I remember I was like, let's go to Tempe Lake, and I just want to take photos of you guys, and they might not turn out good, but we'll have fun doing it. I'll make sure there's at least one good one that you can like post on your Instagram or whatever. And that was how I literally pitched it and how I brought it up. It was just like the results might not be perfect, but it's gonna be fun. Like you guys know me, like it'll be a good time. And it was, and if you need help with that, dude, because one, I love events. Two, I like to party. No,
I'm a party man. What can I say? I bring the party over there.
No, I would love to help with that and definitely like be there. That'd be a blast. I think you should do it. I think you should talk to your friends about it. And because it's like, what's the fucking worst case, dude? Like,
Yeah.
what? Like they have fun, they get some drinks going, and there is no video.
To me, it's like
Like
I think to me it's just like if I do this, I'm just gonna look stupid.
that's not true,
I
dude. And you
yeah,
want
I
to know
know.
what is? You become like if there's a girl there and she sees the fucking videographer, she's like,
The vision, the
like,
potential.
who is this? Like, who is this? And it strikes conversation, and maybe that's. I'm not gonna speak for you, but maybe that's what you need. Just a sense of who are you? I'm the videographer.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
the
the
host
guy.
of the event. And dude, like dead serious. And like if I'm ever down, dude, like straight up, like if I'm ever down, like that's the key for me is like walk into a room and just like it doesn't matter if I'm happy or sad. It's like I'm gonna walk in a room, I'm gonna shake your hand, I'm gonna introduce myself, And I used to really struggle with introductions. I used like even for the podcast, I'm like, fuck, how do I introduce this? And I just keep it simple. It's like this is Familial episode 7, whatever, and then we jump into it. But I've seen people who go and you shake their hand and I'm like, oh, like what do you do? And they don't even know where to start. And those people have the most interesting fucking stories you'll ever hear because they're like, I don't even know. I don't even know what I do, And and then you got people who like have it all kind of like scripted of
Yeah.
like for instance me, like if you ask me what I do or I meet you in a professional setting, it's like my name's Brett Bradley, I'm with dad of all, and, been in business development for the last 2.5 years with them. I'll go in, but it's just like man, like that tying your identity to your work is something, tying it to your passion is fucking way more beautiful. And maybe that's what you need, dude. Just like because when I was shooting those photos for my homies, I introduced myself to people as a photographer. I'm dead serious.
Really?
And I may have not been the best, but in my head, it's like that's what it's gonna take to get to that level of like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I am a photographer. If that's what you need,
Mm-hmm.
like seriously.
I mean, yeah. I
Like,
think
what the
I've
fuck is the qualification for a photographer? There is none. You need
camera,
a
and
fucking
you
camera.
gotta you gotta have a
You gotta
camera.
take a photo. You need a finger. You need a trigger finger. You know, it's like, come on.
Yeah, you just gotta be able to take the photo. Gotta know what you're doing.
Do you even have to know what you're doing, or do you have to make it look good?
I think it's a mixture of both. You gotta know a little bit of what you're doing.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, dude. Like, if someone gives you an inch, can you make a mile? You know, like genuinely. Like, if I was like, shoot this event, I need a video. You think you could make it happen?
I think I think it would be possible. Yeah, I think I've. I think okay. My parents have also tried pushing me towards videography a lot as well because they're like we've seen you try to do it in the past when you were younger and a little child, a wee boy, and you have done these types of things and you've always been outgoing and have always felt comfortable around the camera or around a camera. And so like I don't know. They've always like knew I can do it and try to do something with videography, whether it's like doing what I did at the U of A filming sports or doing what I do with TikTok right now. Or I think it's just me having to figure out what I want to do rather than like what I'm comfortable with because like I'm comfortable with doing nothing. But videography is kind of like it's a fun thing to do. I love editing. I love trying to film things. Well, not really trying to film things. I'm very bad with the camera. Like if we're like at a hangout, and it's like, "Did you take any photos?" I'm like, fuck no.
Right,
I was there for the moment. I swear.
right. It's see, and that's like, dude, like lean into what you want to lean into. You know, like
I think I'm just scared of like failing. Like I feel like to myself, I have such a high expectations. Like when I was younger, I'm like, I'm
it's
gonna be an athlete. I'm gonna be a soccer player. I'm gonna be a hockey player. I'm gonna be a football player. Name it. I said I would do it. And then as I got older, soccer didn't really turn out the way I wanted to. I kind of lost. I want to say passion for it. I still have a passion for it. It's just I didn't have a strong ethic, or I wasn't really. I kind of gave up on myself,
right.
kind of thing. And same thing with like, I guess I attempted when I was younger to make YouTube videos from playing games because it was all I did. I even tried it with streaming in high school, and I gave up on myself too easily because I'm like, this is stupid. No one is gonna watch this. No one cares. And it's like I put like this amount of time, and I kind of gave up on myself. It was a waste of time. I'm not gonna do this again. But I see myself trying to go back to it and try attempting to do it again, and then same scenario. Like this is stupid. No
Well,
one
would
cares.
you watch the content that you're making?
I think at the times that I made some of the things, I was like, this is the stuff I watch. I want to try making it, like recreating it. But I
Then
think I
there's an
tried.
audience.
I think I tried more being what others were doing. Like
Mm,
I think I made like one Fortnite video, and I was just trying to act like overreact when I was like, this is nothing. This is normal. And
right.
I think to me that was like really stupid. I think it was just I'm not doing the things the way I want to do them.
And
I'm
do
trying to
them the way that you want to do
yeah, I
them,
know,
dude.
right? All
Because it's
right.
and that's easier than you think, dude. That piece. When we talk about sadness, when we talk about overcoming that, and like you know pursuing the things in your life that have meaning, that's a whole different conversation. That is like
Yeah.
that is hard to get the answer. But when it comes to you actually doing these things and you wanting to do content for what you want to do the content for, for you, that's easier than you think. And when it comes to look, you could take it very meta. And this is like I love to read, dude. I love books. I love
Nerd.
business. Yeah, no, exactly. But for me, it was like, dude. No, but for me, it's like if I were you, and I have a blog, dude. I love to write. I have a blog, and for me, it's like in the world of business, you're bound to fail. Like failure is it's
It's
everywhere.
inevitable.
Even with
Yeah.
fucking sports, dude. It's like for basketball players, if you shoot a solid 40%, you are like top level. But you're still missing 60% of the shots you take. It's unbelievable, right? So if
Yeah.
you got to understand, like failure is all around us. It's just the people who can take it and write their failures into a blog, make their failures into a book. It's those people that really fucking excel because they understand so many people are going to start the business. I'm not special. What I'm experiencing is like what other people are experiencing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with that idea, it's like I can write a book getting them in front of these problems that I made. And then this is how I found my success. I wrote a book about failure, or about my failure. Like, dude, like figure out how to take a meta. If your videography, you have a shitty shoot, you write about shitty shoots. You make a video of yourself saying, I just did this. This was a lackluster event. I didn't perform. This is what I'm going to do next time. And the next time comes, you either dominate or you fail again. You make the same fucking video, or you make a video of how you succeeded, and you just fucking you trickle it out and you make content around what
Yeah.
you're doing, because that content is something that you would watch because it is what you were doing. And if you're gonna watch it, you're not special. There's 1,000 if not 1,000,000 other people like you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is like, dude, I hope that is like motivating, because like me just saying that like fires me the fuck up. Like dude, like,
I mean, I won't lie, it did fire me up a little bit. Yeah.
good, dude.
I'm like, yeah, like
it's important, dude. Like
it's very important.
Just don't fear failure. Like it's there. It's all around us, dude. Like I fail every day.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I am not like, dude. Like there's days where I lay in bed. I'm like, I'm a fucking piece of shit. Like I did nothing today. But tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna dominate. And then I wake up, I don't dominate. I feel like more shit. And then it trickles for a week, and then the cycle resets and I kill it. I dominate that week or whatever. But it's just like you have to have those shitty weeks. That happens.
Yeah.
People don't remember you for those days. You remember yourself for those days though. So you have to make them count.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hey, write that down, bro.
Hey,
no,
write it down. Write it down. You get that? It's Patrick right there.
What were you gonna say, dude?
I don't even know what I was gonna say. I think I had something in mind, but went away immediately.
So what are your next steps, dude? Like
My
beyond, like let's just fucking talk. Let's plan it, dude.
All right. Let's see here. So to me, I don't have steps. It's just I do it or I don't. It's like if I want to do it, I'll do it. If I don't want to do it, I won't do it. There's kind of just like no planning for it. If I go outside and I like forget the camera, I forget the camera. I'm like, oh well, there goes that. And it's just I don't really, I guess, rally myself to like set up a plan and be like, we're gonna do this for that, right? It's like it's more like the mindset, like go with the flow,
dude. And all right, this is my dude. I'm totally like you forget the camera.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But do you still think about the videography? Do you still think about like when you walk outside and you're like, holy shit, this would be a beautiful scene. This would, like, do you feel that way?
I do when it's in like a fun group setting. It's like Recently, I went to a Halloween party on like the first, and then they did like a whole bunch of like just like a bunch of games. It was like drinking games, doing trivia, Mario Kart, doing like these wild challenges, just for fun. And at the end, I'm like, man, that would have been like really fun to film. You know, like being able to do stuff like that with friends and having a fun time. And it was like a really fun thing. I think it was also because it was something I was not really used to doing. Like with friends, we don't really do like any challenges or stuff like that. We just like choose one place to hang out, talk for a little bit, go home.
Right.
So I think it was for that being like so out of the blue, because I wasn't really know what to expect. I thought it was just gonna be us dressed up in Halloween costumes, drinking.
Right.
So like it was fun, and in fun situations and fun scenarios. I think I do think about videoing, like when I'm playing games with friends. I'm like, this would have been like really fun to like film. And obviously, we there are some things said that shouldn't be said or ever be heard, as per every group of boys huddled together playing a rage-inducing game. But I think
And maybe that's like your answer. Just don't record the audio.
no, there's like editing. So like
Yeah, there's
I
ways around it.
there's ways around it. It's just I don't want to like be having that. Like, I don't want to have to ask people like, hey, can you do this so I can film? Like, can we play some games so I can like film some things? Because I just don't want to like film without like record stuff and not tell them like, hey guys, I'm recording. You know,
Right.
or like film like record stuff and not like tell them. Obviously, because like that's not right. That's pretty crazy to do.
Right. I think your answer is doing that event that you were talking about. I really
There,
do.
you think so?
I think host an event, tell them I'm going to be filming the night and I just want to like chop it up, like make a cool video, like this is my vision. And if your friends don't support you in that, my friends will. Like I promise
I'll
you.
bring the
Like
party to you. Remember?
yeah, I'm dead serious. Like, and I know your friends will, because if they're friends with you, they want to see you succeed. And
Yeah, obviously they've gone through
yeah,
my
come on,
self projecting. So like obviously they've stuck around for a reason.
exactly. And again, though, if they don't, dude, mine will. Like
The
we'll be
party
there.
will come.
The
The
party, yeah,
cavalry
no,
will
you
come.
build it, dude. They will come.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. No, no.
It was just it's just me wanting to I guess to me I want to try going back a few or like I'm trying to feel like I feel like I'm far behind compared to everyone else. Like I'm 22, I haven't really done much. And that's like really young when you like look at the big grand scheme of things. But to me it's like I've had 22 years. I've just recently went through my first relationship. I don't really do the things that people my age do, which is like go out, talk to people, stuff like that. I think I'm more thinking of like in the idea of like a 22-year-old in college, which is just pretty much just someone that wants to party, I think, be with other people. And I don't know.
Don't,
Like,
isn't it like, isn't it kind of freeing though? Like the way that you, like, is that what you want? Do you want to be like everyone else?
I think the mindset that I gave myself is like I want to be like everyone else. When like younger me, which is like the prime ideal version of me that I would want to be, would do like what the fuck he wanted. If he was gonna go crack jokes with some random people, he would do it without even second guessing it, as long as it wasn't mean. But to me, it's like I wouldn't do that at all. That's really weird. People are gonna think that's weird. I'm gonna think that's weird. I think to me, right now, I'm in the mindset of I want to be like everyone else. I want to be successful. I want to obviously everyone wants to be successful. I want to be, I don't know. I don't know.
And what if I told you everyone who is successful and truly successful is that because they were themselves?
I say you're a goddamn liar. No, I'm kidding.
And that's
I
where
would believe
like
it.
the
Yeah.
true success lies. You know?
Yeah.
Like this short term, like I would go out, I party. Like for me, that's just disinteresting to me. Like I'm not like the party guy. I barely
I don't
go
think
out.
I don't think it's really much
And
of the partying. It's just like going out and being able to socialize with anyone. Like
right.
having that no fear of things going like obviously like oh they did not want to talk to me at all. Like that was
Oh,
just
dude, that happens to me all the time.
but that's just like normal. It's like
It's like dude, people okay,
it's
I
like
still
I
get like social anxiety, dude, without a doubt.
mm,
Like if I have to approach a girl and like my
you're
heart
cooked.
fucking races, like it's beating out of my chest. And that like especially if they're really cool or like if it's a follow-up date and they were like dope. Like those moments, even for work meetings, dude, like it's like my heart just races. And that's what makes it fun, dude.
Yeah.
That's
I
what makes it
mean,
fun. It's like the idea of failure. And
I think I fear it.
like
I fear it so much.
no, and that's normal. Like it is absolutely like I fear it too. Like rejection from a woman is hard to it sucks. Like it's not even the rejection itself. It's more so like I have to walk back to my friends
It's like the
and
walk of shame. It's like when you like shoot a paper ball at a trash can from so close, but you missed it.
right,
And you
but
got to be like,
it's the like you have to take ownership in it, you know? Like
yeah,
I remember my buddy or old friend, like we don't talk anymore. He would go talk to women and then he would come back and I'd be like, "Oh, how'd it go?" And he was like, "Oh, I killed it. Those women wanted me, whatever." And I ended up talking to the women at the end of the night, and they were like, "Yeah, we didn't like your friend at all. Like, we told him to just go straight back." I was like, "Really?" He said he got your number, and then she's like, "No, like I didn't give him my fucking number. Like, what the fuck?" And I was like, I'd much rather my friend just be like, "Dude, that did not go well," and I had a conversation with him after that. I
mhm,
was like, "Dude, I don't need you to lie, like to make yourself look better or like anything like that." Because for me,
you
it
kind of,
was like he's seen me go through it. He's seen me
mhm.
like get rejected by a woman. And I went back to him. I was like, "Dude, that was horrible. Like I fucking couldn't say a
I
word."
bombed it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
and like
flunked the test, man.
it's exactly, and that's okay, dude. Like I just think everyone fears what you fear. It's just a matter of being the person who comes out on
Yeah,
the other side. So
I think
I don't know. Maybe I'm spitting out of my ass, but I hope this is like constructive.
no, it very much is. And I think to me, it's just like needing to get this off my chest, having to hear what other people have to say, like you. Like I needed to hear these things because like obviously I was never gonna hear them in the first place if I never spoke about it because it was just me.
All right.
So I would never hear like someone try putting a positive spin on things and saying like, "Hey, there's be you. Who cares what everyone says?" Kind of idea, and just like everyone is themselves. Everyone's gonna go through this. Everyone has gone through this. But for me, I just never heard it.
Right. And that is the avenue that I don't know. I hope this conversation is really opened of like, dude, the only way that look, I'm very different. Like I'm very different than a lot of people I know. And I'm sure you could pick up on that.
What?
Dude, I'm sure you picked up on that when we were, chilling in high school. And the whole, like my whole personality is based on that difference. And I've met women who have just been like, who have talked to my friends, and they're like, I cannot fucking stand this guy. Like, what the fuck? Like he was talking about technology, and like it was just so disinteresting. I've had people who are like, I absolutely love that guy, bring him around all the time, and I've had people who are indifferent, and it's often the first, and it used to bother me. I used to be like, I wonder why that woman didn't fuck with me, and I realized like my goal is not to be likable. My goal is just to be me. Like, and I don't care how it's disrupted along the path, like, or how people perceive it. It's just I need to be myself, and that is like what makes me. Like it really does. If I wanted to conform, I would have done it already. And I'm telling you, all of those women would have fallen in love with a fake me, and that is doing them a disservice, and that is doing myself a disservice as well, dramatically, because then I would have had a struggle with identity. I would have had a fucking relapse or like some bullshit. I don't know. I've never touched crazy drugs and would never relapse on anything, but you know what I'm saying.
Drugs are bad.
Yeah, so but you know what I'm saying. It's just like,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
Is our goal to be likable? Really? Like, it's not, dude. It's not.
Yeah, and I think that's
because people will like you for the actual you.
Yeah, I think that's where I differentiate. Kind of like that's the difference between you and I. You do things for you, and I do things for approval, I guess, from others rather than approval from myself. And I guess that'll be like the first step, is like doing things that I want to do, because I look at the times that I went to the concerts that I wanted to go to this year, and they were like concerts I wanted to do, and I had like a fun time. I enjoyed myself. I was me, and the times I got to do like just doing things that I wanted to really showed that there was joy. But I think there's so many things that I do that I don't enjoy, that I just kind of gave myself the mindset of as long as other people are approving of it, or like as long as it goes by the standards of others, I'm doing something right. Like everyone gets a job. I'm like, I'm doing this right. Even though like I don't like the job, it's not something I want to do, but it's something that like everyone has a job, everyone has to do it. It's just, I guess, being like a sheep rather than like the black sheep. Being like the herd rather than being like being different from everyone.
Right.
I think it's just the fear of being different. I don't know why it's a fear, but it's a fear of being different from others. And like you said, people are going to be like indifferent. People are going to like you. People are not going to like you. And that's just how it goes. I think I just fear the people not liking me. I think because I have so much of a higher value of them, of their approval of me, rather than my approval of myself.
Right. And that's going to take time, for sure.
That takes a lot of me doing stuff by myself, which is stuff that I don't want to like do by myself. It's like a weird like contradiction in a way. It's like, I got to do things that I want to do, but at the same time I fear doing things that I want to do, which is I've got to somehow hurdle that fear.
Right. And dude, the best way to look at it is like, I know what you're saying. There's things that you have to do alone that you don't want to do alone. And for me, that I could not relate to that more. My girlfriend, I made an introduction, my ex, I made an introduction to where she's employed. Yeah, I introduced her to the CEO, and I said she's looking for a remote position. And she got the remote position, so we were both working remote, right? And I was like, fuck it. If you're working remote and I'm going on work trips, like I'll just take you with me because I really don't want to do this alone, you know?
Mhm.
And I was like, we went to New York, we went to Jersey, Florida, Vegas, San Diego. It was like a 10-day trip to all these different
Nice.
places for work. And I remember, and my first girlfriend I took to New York as well. And uh, I remember, dude, like those trips, like once we broke up, I was like, I don't want to do this alone, but like I have to because like
Mhm.
it's for work and they're saying go to New York. And like I was avoiding trips for a certain amount of time. And I was like, I have to do this alone. And staying in the hotels that I previously stayed in with my partner, but now I'm alone. That shit fucking hurt. It hurt
Mhm.
so bad. And I didn't even know it was going to. Um, I really didn't. Like I just was like, it all hit me at once. And I went for a walk, and you realize you're walking on the same paths that you were with them, and you're like, fuck, like I'm alone, and it just got real, you
Mhm.
know. And as I was thinking about it, I was like, this is like the most freeing feeling ever because I am alone, and I I can do what makes me happy, like fully. Like I can go to that coffee shop, I can do this like alone and not have to like and worry about someone else. And it's a fucking hard feeling, man. Like and that's the best like way I relate to you just in regards to everything you feel, just like in with my like romantic relationships. But it's yeah, fucking it sucks, but you have to find yourself, you know, and you have to keep doing the things that you did with them, even if you're alone, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I know what you mean.
it's hard. It's hard. You know, you have no one to text. Like for me, that was another big thing. Like no one to call at the end of the night. Like
Mhm.
I'm doing all these things. I'm finding progress. Like I started looking better. I started making more. I started, you know, I'm doing great in school. Like there were so many
Mhm.
things in my life that were developed. I won some awards, and with that, I had no one that I truly wanted to share that information with because I didn't have my partner, you know?
Yeah.
And and then I really started amplifying of like this is for me,
Yeah.
you know? And it wasn't by choice. Like if I had someone to share it with, I would. But it was by necessity, you know? It was by necessity. I didn't have that person. I just fucking moved to Tempe. I wasn't friends with anyone up here, you know, like at the time.
Mhm.
Man, I was like, I just have to do this solo.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
So I don't know. That was a reiteration, but I was holding on to that because I was like, I don't know. I feel like I touched on the topic, but I didn't like fully go in and give you like my
Yeah, yeah.
perspective. But it's crazy.
Oh, it's wild. And yeah, I guess it's just that feeling as well. Yeah. Like losing a partner that you had like you wanted to talk, or like you had started talking to a lot, and then when you go through the breakup, you obviously like don't have that person to talk to anymore, or uh really like anyone to really like celebrate your wins on, I
Or help you
guess.
through your losses,
Yeah, or help you through the losses.
you
And
know?
so I think to me it kind of amplified amplified a bit with the loss of thinking I had, or having someone in my corner and then losing that person from my corner, because I felt like I was making a bigger step, and then losing them felt like I took a bigger step backwards
Right.
for some reason. But
And that's it's fully understandable, dude.
yeah.
It really is. And it's just you know, it's a step we have to get comfortable with taking, you know. It's not
Mhm.
it's not easy. Like shitty as it is to say, man, people like kill themselves over breakups, and
Oh yeah.
that is like something that is hard fucking truth. But when you look at the statistics of that, it's like it's so sad. But the reason for that is like it's because these are incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Like without a doubt. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
Yeah,
Like
no, it's a difficult time for everyone. I think it's just how much more value, I wouldn't say value, but how much more attachment I think they put themselves to it.
right.
Like definitely differs. Like I think
Without a doubt.
the people who kind of kill themselves over relationships are just the people I think who put a whole lot of their self-value or attachment to it. And
Right.
once the breakup goes through, it's like, well, shit, I'm nothing. I can't do anything. And that's I'm not going through that. It's just like,
Yeah, I know. I was just
yeah,
like thinking
yeah.
that from
Like,
my
yeah.
perspective
Everyone's
of like
as
it
like a
gets
perspective.
worse.
But I think
It gets
some
worse.
people have like a way worse kind of value of themselves. And I'm lucky I'm not in that area. Although
Good.
it feels like it. I'm definitely not. I'm perfectly fine. It's just I think to me it was just having the sense of someone was nice, and then I'm pretty much back to like, I guess it feels like I was put back to like 13-year-old Ian being a kind of just trying to take his brain out of bad situations by like finding distractions, and like playing games endlessly. But obviously, eventually that'll wear off, and you won't be able to distract yourself very much anymore.
So, I guess like my final, like my final like segue to that is like, what do you? I don't know. Like, what in the breakup are you distracting yourself from, or like what pain? Because you talked about like you had that sense of someone, but like what is it for you? Because I was talking with my buddy Dominic yesterday, and we had a podcast, and on that he was talking about his breakup and how um, he went to like a similar place of he just lost his identity. You know, he lost his identity. He had to navigate through the breakup, and he went to therapy, and it wasn't all for the breakup. It was also because he, um, for other matters. But he was talking about like he had to find his identity, and he went very hard on like confronting it. And he's a great friend. I'm very proud of him.
Yeah.
What are you trying to distract yourself from,
I think.
and why?
Ooh. I think for me, it's not really like I don't think heading into a relationship I had any self like identification. I didn't know what I was. I knew what I wanted to be, and I think during that time I feel like I was slowly becoming who I wanted to be, but I think because the relationship failed, I put a lot of it on the fact that I tried being who I wanted to be as the main factor of why I kind of failed in the first place. It's like if I wanted to do what I wanted to do, or like, yeah, I guess like if I wanted to do what I wanted to do, why did it fail? Like, why, if did I, was what I wanted to be wrong? And I guess it's just like failures happen. Like you said, shooters in basketball make like one shot, but they miss like 60% of the time.
It's true.
But I
It's
think,
crazy. It's
yeah,
unbelievable. Like a
like they're shooting.
40% 3-point shooter is like all time. You'd be a
It's like
goat.
great. It's like
Yeah.
you're the best shooter around. But I think for me it was like I I I put myself, or I guess the image of myself that I was trying to put out was the image that I wanted to be, but it failed, and I feel like that was the reason why I failed. It's like I didn't do things entirely how I wanted to do it. I feel like there was definitely better things I could have done, and a whole lot of mistakes were made in that relationship by me. it feels like I'm just trying to distract myself from the fact that like either me not really knowing if that was who I wanted to be or that was who I wanted to be. And I guess I'm just scared of like confronting that of like, who am I? Who do I want to be? Is that what I wanted to be? Is what I was doing what I wanted it to be? And it's just the fear of like, that is what I wanted to be, and it's the reason it failed. It's like, I don't know. It's weird. It's like I wanted to be caring. I felt like I was doing the right things, help them going through their stuff. I would reply quick, and I'm like, is this even like the right? And when everything ended, I'm like, is this the right thing I was supposed to do? Like, was replying too fast the reason? Was I putting too much in my like, I guess too many eggs in the basket? Because I remember going through the breakup, I'm like, this stuff happens. I'm like, when I was going through, or I guess when it was starting to go down, I'm like, this is what happens. I'm gonna stand my point of like, I want this relationship to keep going, even though they've weren't ready for it. And I'm like, I'll stand my position. I'll wait for them, even like if it like at the end isn't, it hurts me in the end. Like that's what I believe is supposed to happen. It's like if you are dating someone, you put yourself on the table, obviously, to like not work out. Like you're setting yourself up for failure if it doesn't go right. And I feel like because it ended up hurting me in the end, that was like the wrong step. It was like that was not the right idea I should have been going for. You know?
Right. Dude. That's dude, you opened up like a whole new layer of conversation.
Yeah, like
because dude, it's the hardest thing, and you're gonna have to manage that fork of, is that the person you want to be, or is it not?
yeah.
And I will say I used to do that too. Like I used to put a lot of pressure on, like, what did I do to make this fuck up? And then it really came down. Like most recently, I was talking to this one girl, and we had been on a bunch of dates together, and she would take a while to respond. And if I was available to respond, I would respond, like, as like if she texted me and I was available, I would just respond,
Yeah.
and put the ball back in her court, because I'm not like the one to like play the game of like, let me wait.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm busy, so like I knew there was gonna be times where I couldn't respond for X amount of time and whatnot. But for me, it was like, I was like, fuck, did I respond too quick? And I started asking myself that, and
Yeah.
immediately once I said that, I was like, no, this is like who I am, so I'm
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I
You know,
would do the same thing. Like I would reply quick. I'm like, no, this is what I want to do. Like this is me. Like I see the message, I'm gonna respond to it as quickly as I can. If it's because it's someone I want to talk to. Sometimes I don't do it with my friends, and that's because I'm like, I just don't want to talk right now.
right? And that's
And
that's okay, And
yeah,
but you have to understand, like, the things that you did were you.
yeah.
Like
Like
everything that you've talked about, like, this is you. Like, you getting on a podcast and doing all of this, like,
also I can mark this off like my checklist. I've always wanted to start it like being like a podcast. So like done.
bro, come, come on, like, more. Like, I'm serious.
Come on.
Like, yeah, I'm dead serious, dude.
Oh God, I don't know
Uh,
if I have any more baggage to put out.
It is that, dude. We can talk football. We can talk anything, dude. Like, but for me, it's like this is you. Like, I have a strong understanding of like the type of person that you are, and you're a good person, Ian, and like you realizing all this shit and like fucking just putting it out there. I hope, I don't know, man. Like, I hope you find a sense of self with some of this, because I think deep down you know who you are,
Yeah,
and
I think I
you're
am.
not willing to
I
admit
think
it.
I'm just I think just scared of like obviously like everything has like ups and downs. Life goes up and down, things like that happen. But I think I'm like scared like what happens if like the person I want to be is like not at all like is wrong. I don't know why because like the person I want to be is like, kind of like you with being a family man. It's like I want to be like the ball of joy that everyone wants to be around. That's the person I want to be. obviously, like, I am that a little bit. Like when I'm hanging out with friends, when I'm hanging out with you, or when we used to hang out, like I would always try to like bring like an energy of like laughter and jokes. Obviously, some of the jokes were bad.
Dude, and that's fucking part of it, dude. And if we didn't have that, like, we wouldn't be as close. And you have to
Yeah.
understand that, dude. Like, our friendship is a two-way street. Like,
Hmm.
I'm sure I hit you with some fucking jabs, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, dude, you just started. No,
I
but
I probably did.
dude, but for me, it's like, dude, I always knew like the friendship I had with you was real, it was authentic, and I'm not gonna hold you when that whole thing with Blake went down, whatever. I was just like, yeah, it's easier to just step away. It's easier to just fucking
Yeah.
leave, you know. And
Yeah.
that's how I felt. It was it hard, absolutely. Did I miss
Mm.
Blake? Did I miss you? No doubt. But I think you and me always understood like we were nothing bad happened between us. You
Yeah.
know, like nothing. There was no animosity. There was no anything really. Like and yeah, jokes are jokes. I'm not sensitive. I think in my life it's like I don't know, dude. Like if you can't take a joke, like go fuck yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like I totally believe in utilitarianism. Like if when it comes to ethics, it's like intention outweighs outcome.
Yeah.
My outcome was always like you say a joke, the outcome's always like, oh, bro's gonna laugh and fire went back, whatever.
Mhm.
But if the intention is because it comes from projection, then we have a problem.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily between you and me, but we have something internally that we have to figure out together. And that is like, yeah, you're never alone. You know who you
Mhm.
are. Like
Yeah.
if you want to be a family man, you got to start fucking saying it. Like I'm that,
Yeah.
you know. And you might lie to yourself for a little, dude, but you really might. Like it's okay, but you got to lie to yourself until you make it happen. Like truly,
Yeah.
just a
I
little,
mean,
be a little delusional. And there was something that I wanted to tell you. It was like there's a there was a study done between like highly successful CEOs and just individuals. And a common trait between all of them was massive insecurity. And I forget the other two, but it was massive
I have a
insecurity.
dream. I could
Like,
do it.
like they never felt like they were enough.
Yeah.
And you can take insecurity and push it two ways. You can project or you can help
Like,
build something great, something
mhm.
that's good to be insecure about, or just push the boundaries a little, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
think.
think I thought that was very applicable.
Oh yeah, very much so. I think for me, it's just like I need to, in order to be me, I need to get out of the bubble that I kind of made for myself. Is like this bubble isn't who I am, but it's like comfort. It's like
Right.
I have nothing to fear except whatever's outside the bubble, which is who I want to be.
Right. And if
Right.
you put out who you want to be, the people who truly love you, they're just going to accept you for who you are and who you truly are,
Yeah.
especially if you have that communication with them of like,
Mm.
I'm going to do what I want to do because this is who I am.
Yeah.
And you're not coming out as transgender. You're just you're just fucking being you.
That's a wild
Unless
analogy. That's a wild analogy right there.
no, people are going to accept you, like
Yeah.
regardless, even if you did come in as transgender, I'm sure. But
Why do you gotta release like my
just
secrets like
kidding.
this? Not kidding. Guys,
Dude,
the
no,
blonde
you
hair.
suck.
The blonde hair is it's a meaning. Not kidding.
Yeah, I had to get the tag back, dude. I'm so sorry.
It's fair. It's fair. Hey,
That's
I've heard
that
some
was
shady.
that one was stewing for 5 years.
that was brewing. Something just had to slip up from your end.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like the people
Yeah.
who love the people who truly. All right, last thing that last story, but it was there was
The
this
story's coming.
there was this attorney general, and he was on trial for something, dude. I forget what it was, but the fucking judge or the people interviewing him, they asked him a question. They're like, do you truly believe like this was the right call to make or whatever? And how he responded was so powerful to me. It's like something that I literally like I say all the time. But he said, I'm aligned with the people that I love and trust as well as God, and that's all that
Mm.
matters. And that's how he answered the question, and that's how he handled the criticism. And I was like, what a fucking great way to answer any form of criticism or any form of doubt coming from a third party. It's like you are aligned with everyone that you love and trust. And if your decision was to standard, I guess, but
Yeah.
and you are aligned with God,
Yeah. I mean,
and
as long
that's a good way to move.
yeah, as long as you're, I think what I is, it's just like as long as you believe in what you're doing is right, who cares what other people think? Kind of, well, not
And
kind
if
of thing, but that's exactly how it is.
right,
I know this. I I also believe in that. Is like do what you think is right. Doesn't matter what other people think. You know, everyone is different. No one is the same, really. But to me, it's like I'm scared of being different.
that's okay, dude. And we'll get there.
Yeah,
We
I
will,
mean,
man.
everyone. I think everyone goes through it. Everyone at some point was a little scared of being different. I think
It
everyone has gone through the self like identity crisis.
for sure, dude. It's so like I don't know, dude. It's been a reoccurring theme with people that I've seen like our age. Like
Yeah, I
it's
think
all
it's
around.
I think it's just because like at this point we're supposed. I think everyone is like a firm believer of this. Like at this point, you're supposed to know what you want to do. Like once you're out of high school, straight out the gate, you're supposed to know what you want to do. Like university, what university you want to go to, what you want to major. This major will steer your life for the rest of your life. And I think that kind of causes people like I don't know what I want to do or like what
Right.
do I want to do. And I think it's just kind of finding I guess for me it's going back to the passions that I've always had. Like you said, like I always enjoyed sports. Maybe do something with sports. Uh, my parents always knew I was very comfortable in front of like a camera, being like myself, videography, just doing things that I want to do. I always like playing games, maybe do something with gaming, you know. It's just I I just don't think people would like the person that I want to be. And I shouldn't cuz like I need as long as I'm happy with it, everyone it doesn't matter what they think. But
And
I
there's
just
only
can't.
one way to find out.
Yeah, it's only one way to find out. It's to do it, but I'm scared of trying to go through that hurdle of being different, being what I want to be, and seeing how everyone kind of reacts to it. I guess I'm kind of scared of like if I try being me, what will I lose and what will I gain? I feel like I would lose more than I would gain.
Then I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. If you feel like you were gonna lose more than you gain, fucking, you gotta lose it. You gotta lose it, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be the hardest. It's probably gonna be very difficult. But would you rather lose all that shit and or all those people, whatever you're referencing? Would you rather lose all that doing what you love and being truly you, or would you rather lose it down the line, still not yourself?
Damn.
Because if you're gonna lose
I
it,
guess when you put it like that, yeah, lose it right now, be who I want to be, rather than lose what I have, and being what I wasn't. So I guess yeah, that was a good one.
thank you.
That was a deep one. That was a good one.
And it's serious. It's like if you're gonna lose it, now, like just for being you, you're gonna lose it down the line eventually. You
Yeah.
know, but would you? Are we prolonging the inevitable, following a path that's not truly yourself?
Yeah.
I'd rather
Mm-hmm.
cut it off now. Fucking cut it off. There's a Tom
Yeah,
Hardy
that's right.
clip. I'm sure you've seen it, but he's talking. His buddy calls him. He's like, you remember the floods? He's like, and he's like, there was a boy who got stuck in the grate during the floods. Like his foot got stuck in, and his friend's like, that would never be me. Tamar's like, what do you mean? Like, why? And he's like, I would have told him to cut it off. Cut it off. Nah. This is what he says.
Nah.
And he's talking about the foot, dude. And it's such a good reference though, because he's like, sometimes you have to cut off the people in your life that you never wanted to cut off, but it's just out of necessity. Like you gotta get up above water.
Yeah.
Start breathing a little.
Yeah. Climb onto that door.
Yeah, exactly, dude. But yeah, man, I that's all I had on my end, dude. Do you got anything else over there?
I mean, as of right now, I got nothing. I mean,
Beautiful, dude.
Yeah, I think we kind of covered the bases that I kind of wrote about. I think for me, this was just for me to like be able to like express myself. I mean, getting tons of years off my shoulders and finally being able to tell someone. Kind of like
good, dude.
It's good,
dude. It's so great. I don't know why that was funny to me, but it was like swiping up on my Instagram story and just be like, fuck yeah, I booked therapy for the week.
Yeah, I'm like, hell yeah. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it. I'm like, I saw you do that. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Why not? And like, so I like clicked it, and then when I saw what the other podcasts were about, I'm like, all right, so this is just gonna be therapy for me. Got it.
Dude, that's man. It's so funny because it's literally the podcast is just designed to chop it up, and then somehow
it becomes like a therapy.
Everyone, well, it's just like I've realized I've only talked to men so far. I've yet to have a woman on the podcast, and I feel like men hold a lot of this shit in.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they don't
for
talk.
sure.
Like my buddy Francis was on the podcast, and he was like, "I literally like don't talk about my feelings."
Yeah, no, I don't do it either. I think it's just,
dude. If that's what it's for, like, let's do it.
This is just for men to like express themselves now. We'll get like the other end. We'll have like two parties now. We'll have like one female, one male. We'll see like how like they differentiate and kind of ideas.
Right, dude. I'm really excited for that. I have there's a couple of options, so we'll see what happens. I gotta like go through my old everyone I used to talk to and just see if they want to do a podcast. And I don't know, it's gonna be fun. I have some options. I really want to bring on that girl that I took to that rooftop bar because I feel like her perspective on social anxiety,
how she like saw things compared to you, kind of thing.
Right, dude. Right. I think that'd be sick.
It's like yeah, that would be really interesting.
I hope. I don't know. I think I'm still in good graces with her. We'll see. But I can't gauge it.
That's fair.
I can't gauge it. But we'll we'll gander. But yeah, to the audience, I hope this was I hope you learned something about yourself along this journey. Ian, thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thanks for having me on. I mean, this was really fun, honestly. Obviously got very vulnerable, but it was very fun.
Ian will be back.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever want me to join back, we'll talk about like, I don't know, football, get us like life update.
Yeah.
I'll figure out questions for you, see how you're gauging everything. It'll be back and forth.
I'm down.
Kind of like what would you do if you really had like, what would be like your one wish, but there's like a backfire to it type of thing?
Right.
Like remove all the bad people, but like you didn't remove them, you just like made them invisible. They're physically gone,
right?
In like sight, but they're still there.
Right. No, exactly, dude. So
we'll try. I'll try figuring out a way to like try making this podcast a bit more fun and less kind of depressing sometimes.
Oh, dude, you gotta understand, bro. That's part of it.
This is everyone though. Like everyone has their tough. Everyone has their tough times. Okay.
It's true, bro.
I feel like the next time I want to make it more fun. This is just the beginning.
Absolutely.
There will be more
just the beginning. There's more of you.
You're gonna see the different stages of me.
You're gonna see every inch of Ian by the end of this
be a different version. It'll be like an anniversary. It'll be like 19th episode, Ian's back. 29th, Ian's back.
Exactly, dude. He's going up naked next episode.
Yeah. Next episode, I'm behind Brett. He doesn't know it.
Dude, that'd be crazy, bro. We start the pod. It's just you're behind me, dude. Guess who?
39th. I'm in your closet.
Dude. Fuck yeah.
Where are you?
We're gonna
turned off the lights.
Yeah, we're definitely doing this again. So yeah, to everyone, fucking thank you, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one, and again, hope you learned something about yourself in the process. And yeah, until next time.